Hi, I'm Mandi Pryor, and welcome to Spotlight on Pittsburgh. Spotlight on Pittsburgh is a program about Pittsburgh's most fascinating people and what they do to make our city an amazing place to live and work. When we come back, I'll introduce you to Rachel Saul Rearick, the Arts and Culture Manager for the Allegheny County Airport Authority. Later on in the episode, we'll introduce Kristin Saunders, the Principal Transportation Planner for the Pittsburgh's Department of Mobility and Infrastructure.
Our family was drifting apart until we found a connection.
You have the power to change your child's life. The Boys Town National Hotline can help.
And welcome back. Hi, Rachel. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Thanks so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
So, what can you tell me about your background and what you've done?
So my background is that I have an undergraduate degree in printmaking with a minor in art history from Edinburgh University, and then I went on to get my master's in public administration from Gannon, and I did my research work on the effect of art in redevelopment. So that's kind of my educational background. I've worked mostly in arts nonprofits since then, did a little bit of grant writing, and then on my personal time, I'm on the board at Artist Image Resource in Northside and do some socially engaged art projects like Pittsburgh Women Make It or Garfield Alive. So I keep busy.
Well, that's good. Yeah, that sounds like a busy schedule.
Yeah.
And so tell me a little bit about what you do now.
So at the airport, I'm the first full-time arts and culture manager, which means I manage the Allegheny County Airport Authority's Art in the Airport program, creating a sense of place, the Pitt Performing Arts series, and I have a lot of fun doing it. What that really breaks down to is the temporary art exhibits that you see when you come through the airport, the music that we have once to twice a week, and then managing the permanent art collection as well.
And so what can you tell me about some of these collections that you've had?
So our permanent collection is not really that vast. We have the Calder, which I think some people miss. Whenever you come to the center core, it's a giant Alexander Calder mobile. We have an Akiko Katani piece, and then what most people know is the Clayton Merrill floor that is in the center core, as well as we have a sculpture outside that is about to get cleaned. So keep your eyes out for a shiny sculpture.
And so what can people expect when they come to the airport?
So we have a lot going on right now. One of the most exciting things is this summer I'm working with Derek Reese at the Office of Public Art. He's at the airport 2 days a week, and we are putting together a wayfinding pedestrian mural in our extended parking lot. So what that means is that it's a mural that's going directly on the ground, and the idea is that it helps circulate pedestrians through the parking lot, because right now there's not really any indicator where to go. So
you can definitely get lost in the airport parking lot.
So that is a new thing for airports in general. And then also we have a call that's going to be coming out in a couple weeks for some new 3D work. And then we just installed some murals in our transit level. So right when you go post security, there's some they were paintings that got translated into vinyl. So we're getting lots of new things, some new temporary spaces. It'll be an exciting place in the next 6 months.
Yeah, and I don't think people necessarily think of going to the airport and seeing art. So this is something that you're concentrating on, and what do you hope to bring to the...
Well, I think that my number one goal is really I'd like to see us have a high caliber, world-class experience for passengers when they come through the airport. I hope that we can grow that collection a little bit, and that we can also really feature more local artists through our temporary art spaces.
And what do you find to be the importance of that?
So art in the airport is important, I think, for a number of reasons. One is that I think that the airport kind of serves as the gateway to our region. So when you come through Pittsburgh, you feel like you're in Pittsburgh. I think it's important that when people step off of a plane, they see the Carnegie Museum or the Frick or the Children's Museum represented in our space, and that they know they're in Pittsburgh. And then that it's also a platform for local artists to be seen. And then there's the second layer that, travel's stressful, right? Like, you get anxious. So it's a great opportunity to let people slow down and reflect while they're going through it, and
maybe enjoy
their time.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing for me that right left brain side. I think that it's great for economic value, you know, and companies are looking to relocate, people are looking to move, they want to live where there's a robust arts community. So having that in our airport shows people that Pittsburgh supports the arts.
Well, and I think Pittsburgh's art and culture scene has grown significantly over the past 15 years.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, from when I was, graduating from college to where it is today is leaps and bounds.
Absolutely.
Of what we've been doing. So I think it'd be a great addition for our airport to reflect that as well.
Yeah.
Because we're always out there too. So.
Definitely.
And so what else can you tell me about some of the projects that have been coming through?
I think that people will notice that we've put our temporary spaces on a quarterly rotation, so we're keeping that work fresh. We're changing it more often. With that new call, I'm hoping that we'll have some new three-dimensional work that people will be able to see. And I guess, that mural, that parking mural is going to be exciting.
And what is your favorite piece of art? I know I'm throwing her questions that I didn't prepare her for.
My favorite piece of art at the airport. Wow. I think that it would probably have to be the Calder. And I feel like that's kind of like a cliche answer, but I just think that it's really beautiful. And I think the history of it is also pretty exciting. It was in the Carnegie International, eventually gifted to the airport. It's seen a lot of things in its life. At one point it was painted green and yellow, so I think it's got a story, and it's beautiful, and it's in a great location.
Yeah, it's like the center of the airport.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
And the airport now has a artist in-house? Is that
An artist in residence.
Artist
Yeah.
in residence?
Yeah.
I'll get there.
So there's only a handful in the country. And our program is a little distinct in that he actually is on a year to year and a half residency with us. So he comes in, he spends time with the staff, he goes through behind the scenes like flight simulation, how they test engines. He gets to see things that people don't even know are happening. And then the next phase is that he does a community engagement period where he talks to passengers about their experience in the airport, why they're flying, how they're feeling about it. And then all of that goes into testing some ideas for a piece that he will eventually create for the airport. So right now he's in that engagement
So
phase.
the airport's his muse.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
It is, and he's taken a lot of phenomenal photographs. So if you have an Instagram, you can see literally behind the scenes, in the tunnels, everything. That is air_pit, PIT. So you can
So he
check that
gets
out.
to just travel and take photos and
Yeah.
meet people. That sounds like a wonderful job.
I'm jealous. It's
I'd be a little
fun.
jealous too. Yeah. And so what do you hope to do with your role at the airport?
I think the thing that I look forward to the most is that, like you were saying, we're blessed with a lot of creative people, a lot of talented people. And I think that we have such a robust arts and cultural community that I hope to really have the airport be a canvas for really continuing to display that. I think that being in that community for years now, I see that there are so many people at mid-career or later in their career who they've made it in Pittsburgh. People know who they are in Pittsburgh, but having that opportunity to show at the airport.
You mean above and beyond Jeff Goldblum?
Yeah. right. Yeah. Above and beyond Jeff Goldblum. That it's kind of the stage where people then find out about Pittsburgh artists and they're able to go beyond that plateau.
Well, and is there anything else that I haven't touched on that maybe you'd like to share about the experience, or what people should stop when they're in the airport? What should they stop and do and focus on other than getting to that McDonald's line as quick as possible?
So I guess two things. One, what would I share that I haven't talked about is that I think everybody's probably read in the news that we're going to build a new terminal. So,
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know anything
I
about
know,
that.
right? So the terminal modernization plan, I think it's important to the arts and cultural community to know that they have a place in that. So as we move forward, and I'm lucky enough to help sit in on some of those best practices panels and work with the architects to talk about how we're going to make sure we include the existing arts and culture community, letting people know that it will exist in that new terminal. And then I think, what should they do? I think if you're walking through the center core, the Clayton Merrill piece, there's so many intricacies that people never notice. It has skylines built in. It has neighborhoods represented in there. So just take some time to look at what's there. And of course, there's tons of local breweries that just came in. So help yourself to that too. Right.
Take your time, relax.
Yeah.
Great. Well, if there's anything else that I haven't touched on, please feel free to share. I'll be happy to put out more information about how to connect with you and the experiences that you have. So thank you so much for coming on, and we'll be getting Kristin out here shortly.
Thanks a lot.
I can't wait to see these amazing projects in person. Find out about these exhibits at flypittsburgh.com/art. When we return, we will turn the spotlight onto Kristin and her role as Pittsburgh's Department of Mobility and Infrastructure city planner.
Sometimes it's hard to see where you're going, but you have the power to change your problems. All it takes is courage. YourLifeYourVoice.org.
And welcome back, Kristin. Thanks so much for journeying from the city to come see us today.
Yeah, you're welcome, of course. This is awesome.
Thanks. So what can you tell me about what you do?
Well, I am a principal transportation planner with the City of Pittsburgh's brand new Department of Mobility and Infrastructure, which is very exciting.
Yes.
The city started a new department. It's a Department of Transportation, so we never really had a department to really concentrate on, where all those bike lanes and buses were going and how sidewalks were built. That was sort of split into a couple departments. So we created a department to really develop some leadership as well as just better coordination between people to really concentrate on streets, which is very exciting because I love streets.
I think it's pretty important to go through and maybe revitalize that.
Yeah, and not that no one was doing that work before. It just we wanted to create a more streamlined process and point of contact for those things. So
great. So and you love streets, which makes it all the better.
Yeah. I mean, it really means that the city is saying that streets as public space are really important to us. So yeah, it's very exciting.
So what are some of the upcoming projects that you're working on?
Well, we just completed a steps plan. I don't know if you know this, but the city of Pittsburgh has a lot of staircases.
I do know that.
I don't know if you know this, but the city of Pittsburgh is very, very hilly, and we have over 800 public staircases. So they're public rights of way. So there are houses, like for instance, my street kind of dead ends into a set of stairs, and there's a couple houses that you can only access by that staircase. Yeah. And we have over 800 of those. It's a pretty big undertaking. And when I started at the city 3.5 years ago, if people would ask kind of if people would give me a bunch of money to take care of one of those staircases, I wouldn't be able to tell you which one was the most important. The community often tells me which one is the most important, but I wouldn't be able to tell you which one is the most important. So we went through a planning process to really understand each step's importance and sort of presence in the pedestrian network. So how important is each step to the pedestrian, and to create kind of a hierarchy and a prioritized list for steps repair, which is really exciting because that means
important, yeah.
It is. It means that we can do steps repair with confidence. Before we were just kind of patching things and fixing things, but now we really do have this list that we all believe are the most kind of important sets of steps to repair first, and then we can move on to the others.
Do they start by like highly trafficked, just going along with whatever I guess is most disrepaired?
We looked at a ton of factors. We looked at kind of all the bus ridership nearby. We know a lot of people take the steps on a daily basis. A lot of our kind of commercial corridors follow the river, and they're kind of banked by really hilly residential areas. So a lot of people take the steps on a daily basis to get to, jobs, daily needs, transit, things like that. And so we looked.
Essentially a piece of their day, like they're part of their life. So.
Yeah. I heard from some residents of the Southside Slopes, which is a neighborhood in the city of Pittsburgh, pretty close to downtown, that they have this set of steps called 18th Street, and it was taken out for a couple days for repairs. And a lot of residents told me that was more impactful than when the road 18th Street is out for repairs, because they take that set of steps like multiple times a day to get down to the flats.
Are they all in like really good shape too?
No, not at all. I mean, I feel like as the steward of those steps, I should say that they're okay, but they were all built in, they were big pieces of infrastructure, and they were all built in the 50s and 60s out of concrete. And they are old. They're old.
So it's time.
Yeah,
it's time for them to get a little
attention.
facelift.
Yeah. So we are rebuilding a set right now in Oakland. It's in Shinley Park. It's off of Jean Kerr Street. So that's the only set of steps that we've done kind of a complete, or major set of steps that we've done kind of a complete repair in the last couple years.
When it comes down to safety too, because you want people to be safe when they're doing their daily tasks.
Yeah, we want to encourage walking. We think walking is very important to the city of Pittsburgh. A lot of people might not know this, but 11% of people in Pittsburgh get to work by walking. And so that's actually not including people, there's more people who take the bus and ride bikes and drive. 11% of people get to work every single day on foot. And we want that number to grow. So we definitely want to repair steps.
I used to have a few friends over in the north side who would be walking across those bridges every morning. So.
Yeah, it's one of our assets is that it's a very dense and walkable city, and so we want to encourage that. Yeah.
Well, it's a beautiful city to walk through too.
Yeah, and the steps are amazing.
And
really
so you're
amazing.
doing some kind of a safety program?
Yeah, I work primarily in sort of bicycle and pedestrian projects, and so we are working on the steps plan. We're working on a bike plan to really designate those routes that are best for bike riders in our city. We want to see, bike ridership grow.
And you were part of the initial bike lanes that were put in, correct?
I moved here in 2014, so some of the I would say the ones that stand out in people's mind because they're downtown, like the Penn Avenue bike lane was installed just before I moved here. But I've been part of every project since then, I'd say, yeah.
As it develops.
Yeah, as it develops. And I, personally, I'm not a car owner. I walk, bike, and take public transit on a daily basis, sometimes all three in the same day. Sometimes I take 4 different modes in the same day. And so, I think it's important to us as a growing city to consider bicyclists.
Well, and it does change things, especially with how many cars we're trying to get into the city. If you can eliminate some of the cars trying to come in, then everybody can be a little bit more.
Yeah. Did you read that policy?
I didn't.
No, exactly. Like it's hard to grow without considering other modes. We just can't.
Well, I mean, I formerly work downtown, so
yeah,
I know.
We can't fit all those cars on the street.
No, it's difficult and it's expensive.
Did you, and half of people downtown take public transit. So people in Pittsburgh are already used to taking other modes, and we just want to make that a little bit better for them and easier to do. So
you have the accessible bikes, and that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh, I know I said whenever I work downtown, you'll never know it by driving in it. You'll only know it if you walk it.
I love that.
It's the truth.
It's
the truth.
Preach. I love that.
It's because of all the one-ways, you get so confused by the time you're driving around, but if you just walk, you'll see it's really actually easy to navigate city.
Downtown is so compact and small, and there's a ton of things you miss while driving. I would love to hear your list. I mean, I have a list, but I love that statement. Yeah, there's a ton of things that you miss when you're going 25 miles an hour. You just can't see everything.
Well, 90% of the time you're looking for parking anyway, so you can't look up at anything else.
It's true. Yeah, Pittsburgh's a great city to walk in. I recently, because I am a transportation nerd, but I recently walked all of Penn Avenue with some friends of mine which is 7.4 miles. It's a bit of a hike, but it is, it's so interesting Pittsburgh is a walkable neighborhood. Like, it didn't take all that long, and you really get to see all these different neighborhoods. It's a good speed to experience the city. Not that I would suggest everyone does that every day, but it's a walkable city. It's fun to explore on foot.
Are some of those staircases, by the way, that you're helping with, are they I know there's some, like, I don't want to call it a heart attack hill, but it has like so many stairs.
Heart attack hill. There's Canton Avenue, which is quite famous because people say it's the steepest street in the world.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably the one I'm talking
It
about.
has a set of steps on it. The sidewalk is something called a jumper walk. It's like a jumping sidewalk. Yeah.
So you'd really
You
need
should
to
go
be in
visit
good
that.
shape to.
Yeah, it's funny to go, that's in Beachview, and it's funny to go to that neighborhood, like when you're poking around, people are like, oh, do you want, they like know that they have this like sort of tourist attraction
Yeah,
in a
are you
steep
looking
hill.
for that?
Yeah, are you looking for that steep hill? It's that way, because it's just it's a residential street.
So that's it. That's the summer challenge right there.
Yeah.
At the Beachview. Make sure you get lunch and check out the
and
city,
steps.
the area.
Check out the steps. But there are a couple of walking tours that are actually signed on steps. There's the church route in the south side that takes you to see some amazing views, and there's also the Fine View Fitness Trail, which is one of the north side neighborhoods.
Great.
Yeah.
So there's lots
Check those
to
out.
go check out by foot
By foot, I
or
like that.
bike or
Whatever you want.
So is there anything else that I haven't touched on that you'd like to share?
Let me think. I mean, we're working on projects all the time. I would say just, I love this opportunity to kind of introduce our department. And we're here for Pittsburgh, for completing, we're really working on our streets in Pittsburgh. We are working on something that's very exciting to me, which might not be exciting to all of you, but Complete Streets Design Guidelines. Our design guidelines for streets are from the 80s. And so we're really, taking this chance as a new department to really look at all of these things that haven't been done in a long time. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be more information on your website coming up about all the
There's a lot of information there, yeah.
Thanks, Kristin.
Yeah, thanks.
To find out more about Kristin and the upcoming projects, please go to pittsburghpa.gov/DOMI. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce that, so I'm just going to use the acronym. When we return, we'll bring out both Rachel and Kristin. We'll see you in a few.
Here's something we bet you didn't know. Nearly half of all cancers can be prevented, mostly by making changes in your diet, controlling your weight, and of course, by not smoking. Visit prevent50.org and get a free 30-day planner filled with tips, recipes, and more.
All right, and we're back. So I am here with Rachel and Kristin, and thanks again for coming on. You two know each other, correct?
Yes.
So how do you two know each other?
Well, we both used to work at the Department of City Planning, and now neither of us work at the Department of City Planning. But we still love the Department of City Planning.
Good. And so what did you both were kind of the same area, or you were kind of?
We were in the same hallway. I was in transportation planning.
And I was in public art and civic design.
Yeah.
And now you're still both working with transportation, of course, and seeing what you guys can do for the city and beyond.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything that you didn't know about what each other were doing that, interests you?
I knew about the wayfinding mural, but I'd like to see it. I haven't seen it in a long time. We talked a long time ago about that.
I would love to tell you more.
Yeah.
We are finishing up the contracting process right now, so hopefully the end of August the designs will be complete and we'll go down. We're trying to figure out if we're going to use thermoplastic or paint. So
yes.
Yeah.
What do you think?
What
do you think?
Let me see.
No, wayfinding is really interesting. We talk about it. I shouldn't say interesting. It's one of those things that you don't want to think about, but you have to, and you have a big opinion about when it's wrong, like signage.
Yeah.
Like it's something.
I mean, well, you have to worry about not what it's going to look like. It could look great today, but whatever's going to be the best solution down the road.
Sheep boats for thermoplastic, then.
That sounds like it.
Yeah.
See, in my mind, I was like, plastic, I think that would break, but that's just me. But I have no idea, so don't even ask me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But paint would chip, so.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, that's just general.
The right tool for the job, yeah.
Who knows? I'll leave the experts to that.
Yeah. Yeah, we
And do you bike, walk, tour? Are you a big Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I do. I love biking in the city, and at the airport, actually, the mural will end at the Montour bike trail start. So you'll have to come out whenever it's done.
I need to. I haven't taken. I'm really sad to admit this, but I have not been on the Montour Trail.
It's nice. I only did it.
I
since
live
I've been
right
here.
off it, so I'm on it constantly with my son.
I have been on one of my favorite places. I shouldn't say in the city, but outside the city. If you take it's right by the end of the G2, which is in Carnegie, which is near here, right?
Yes, yes.
And you get on the Panhandle Trail, and there's this place on the Panhandle Trail where the Montour Trail crosses.
Yes.
And on like a Saturday, to see that full of people, in my mind, I'm like, this is the future. Everyone's on these trails, and they're crossing, and they're going places. Yeah, it's such a cool spot.
One of the trails, doesn't it connect into Pittsburgh? I wouldn't know for sure.
The Montour Trail does.
Yeah, it does.
It connects into the Great Allegheny Passage,
Yes.
which is the one that goes all the way to DC.
DC. And I make it about 3 miles walking with my son.
Perfect. Perfect.
It's a start.
I always see the same thing. I'm like, well, I should probably just drive up and get off somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, that one goes all the way to DC.
Yeah.
I have not done that.
No. I need to get into biking again. My bike sits for way too long, and I love biking, so good. Well, thank you both for coming on the show one more time.
Thank you.
Hopefully I'll be in the city biking or out flying. My husband knows I hate road trips and I love flying, so.
Be at the airport.
Yeah, I'll be at the airport, at least to experience the art and the.
You could bike to the airport.
I could bike to the airport.
And then fly.
Follow the wayfinding. Is that
Yeah.
The wayfinding into the airport, see the art. See, that's like a whole weekend getaway right there.
You don't even need to leave.
I don't even need to go anywhere. Well, thank you so much, and hopefully we'll be able to find Rachel and Kristin and all their work coming up. Thank you for joining us again on this episode of Spotlight on Pittsburgh, and thank you for watching. Please follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Spotlight on Pittsburgh, and join us again next time when we shine the spotlight on 2 new guests.